Hello, welcome to our inspiring lunch. Today I am going to take you with me in a journey into Parashat Shmini. And actually it's very apropos. Because tonight is Parashat Shmini, we're going to see speaks about a tragedy. It speaks about a big joy, the inauguration of the Mishkan, but it also speaks about a tragedy. And tonight we are actually remembering one of the most contemporary tragedies. Yeah. It's Yom HaShoah that starts tonight and tomorrow. So I think it's very apropos it doesn't always fall that Shmini is on Yom HaShoah, but it's very interesting to bring it together, and also of course to relate it to October 7th and our personal tragedies also that unfortunately we hear a lot those days. And by the way, I want to remind everyone that today's learning was dedicated by Sabrina Goldfarb for the zechut of her daughter Sheina. The lunch is dedicated, so if you eat anything, please make the brachot לרפואה שלמה, תינוק בן מיכל עלייה, and Adel Miriam bat Michal Aliyah, the twins of our different Michal, who is usually sitting here and is now at home. Her babies, she had twins, one boy, one girl, Baruch Hashem, and they are in the NICU, and we really need a lot of tefillot for them, especially the little girl, Bezrat Hashem, that we should hear only good news. Yes.
Did she know that she had twins?
She knew, but nobody else.
Only in Neshama like Michal.
Yes, she's very special, Dana. And we're going also to dedicate Leilui Nishmat Mesod Asher ben Lydia Chaya Rachel, Zichron Livracha, whose yahrzeit was yesterday, and Michal Fili bat Simcha, Zichron Livracha, whose yahrzeit was also yesterday. We're going to speak about that today with the permission of Michal. Elis bat Nina, who is the grandmother of our dear friend Leslie Newman, and Rachel bat Emilia, who is the dear mother of one of my friend and student from the Spanish class, who lost her father and her mother this year. So I'm thinking about her a lot. May Kadosh Baruch Hu send her a lot of strength to go through this time of grief. And l'refua shelema, so we said Adel Miriam bat Michal Aliyah, Tinok ben Michal Aliyah, Leah Chana Dvora Chaya bat Mazal Tov, who is a little girl, 4 years old, who need our tefillot, Bezrat Hashem. Shulamit Sulika bat Rivka, who is the daughter of Rivka Kati. Another Tinok ben Michal, who is the grandson of my Rabbi Elmale, whose daughter just spent the Pesach here in Miami and gave birth in Miami a little bit earlier than what was supposed to be. So Bezrat Hashem, but the baby's fine, Baruch Hashem. Yosef Ishai ben Daniel Miriam, Eliyahu Hanavi ben Tita Esther, Noah ben Sloan, Raphael Yaish ben Chana, Leib Shlomo ben Sarah Leah, another husband of a friend, and another husband of a friend, Michael ben Aisha. Baruch Hashem, he's back home, and we should only hear good news, Bezrat Hashem. Woo!
Can I add two Tinoks?
Tinok, yeah, of course, sorry.
Tinok ben Joalea and Tinok ben Kelly Rachel.
Bezrat Hashem, your nephews.
Both.
Both the nephews.
You know, Leachana, right? You know
Yes. But we're not supposed to say, so we're not going to.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, you know.
Yeah. Tomorrow night, by the way, we have a challah bake. If you are not registered, I'm so
I
sorry.
know, I'm so sad. I tried to register.
But it's booked.
I think I was the last one I registered, I think.
Yeah, maybe, probably. Like we sold out, and I have to limit it, unfortunately, because of the amount of flour and things. And right after Pesach, it was even difficult to find it.
If I don't do the challah, can I still come?
Yeah, sure, you can come. Bring your ingredients if you want.
Okay.
Or if
Maybe
you
I'll do
want to
that.
bring your dough or whatever. It's just that
That's smart.
I have a limited amount of things. Like I was very lucky to find everything I needed.
Yeah, okay.
But I have still to complete tomorrow.
Reminders because like I forgot this because she
Yeah.
said
Yeah.
coming up.
It's Shlisl Challah. It's
Are
a
you
very
going to teach us how to do it? Because I don't know how to do that.
Well, we're going to do it, of course. We're going to do the Shlisl Challah. It's going to be exciting.
Dites-moi que it doesn't say
Yeah,
location.
yeah. No, because when you register, you get the location.
Okay, so can you send
But it's in my house. Yeah, you know, no? 66 Balbe Drive, no? Okay, I'll send it to you. Okay. So, anyways, now let's jump into Parashat Shemini. Parashat Shemini is the parasha where we didn't say any Tefillin. Tehillim. Tefillin.
Oh,
Tehillim. Attends, je veux bien qu'on lise juste
Yeah, of
avant
course.
de commencer. You don't mind? Thank you. I have also in my bag. Maybe we can read 100.
Yeah.
Mizmor Letoda. It's a good one.
Of course.
Thank you. Yeah, oh, that is
You have
so
one?
cute. I have one here. Thank you. Kuf. So having in mind all the people that we just mentioned, Bezrat Hashem. You ready?
Which page is it? It's 233.
So cute.
I'm gonna want another one.
Oh, wait. I can't. I can't wait for my kids to get married now.
Je sais, c'est que c'est là, right?
I know. You know, the first time I taught
Oh
a
no, don't
group,
tell me that.
okay,
I'm gonna get married.
everybody got pregnant, including me,
You also? Oh my gosh.
with the first refresher
I was
class
mine.
that I
I
gave.
no, not now, but how many times, how long is this series?
6 weeks,
No.
7 weeks. Okay. Mizmor letoda, ariu l'Adonai kol haaretz, ivdu et Adonai besimcha, bo'u lifanav birnana. Deu ki Adonai hu Elohim, hu asanu velo anachnu, amo vetzon marito. Bo'u sharaf betoda, chatzrotav bethila, הודו לו ברכו שמו, כי טוב אדוני לעולם חסדו, ועד דור ודור אמונתו. Okay, so I would like to start speaking about this beautiful Parashat Shemini. It's a very, very important parasha. First of all, because it's the middle parasha of the entire Torah.
Cool.
Yeah, it's cool, right? But at the same time, it's very scary because I have so many things that I plan on doing in Rosh Hashanah. I'm like, oh, we're already in the middle of the year. Oh my God. So Shmini is the middle parasha of the Torah. And of course, in this parasha, we're going to find very important things because it's in the center, it's in the core of the Torah. So we're going to find very, very, a lot of gems, let's say, okay? Secondly, Shmini is important because the last 6 parashiot, we have been preparing something important, a place for HaKadosh Baruch Hu to dwell in, right? The Mishkan. We've been first learning all the theory, how to create it, how all the details will come out, and how to create the Mishkan. Hashem gave everybody all the details of the textures, the materials, how to do it, how to melt the gold, to make the keruvim, everything, right? And then we have all the details of how it has been made. And now we're finally coming to the inauguration of the Mishkan. All those weeks, we've been waiting for that. And now we have the opportunity to celebrate. Imagine, like, this is not only the place where Hashem is going to come and dwell, this is something that we built, each and every one of us. We took part of it. This is our binyan. This is our work, construction. This is what we did for Hashem, right? In reparation for the golden calf. So basically, it's like, okay, we got married, we received the Torah, we cheated on you with a golden calf, and now we just try to fix everything and look, this beautiful tent that we created for you. We followed all your wills with all our hearts, and our mind, we put everything we had materially, materialistically, and spiritually, intellectually. We did everything we could. This is the presentation of our love for you, right? And why is it Shmini? Shmini, because now we are the 8th day of this celebration. When we celebrate a Chatan and a Kala, we celebrate for 7 days, right? We do the Sheva Brachot. For 7 days, we celebrate a Chatan and a Kala. We know that Am Yisrael and HaKadosh Baruch Hu or Chatan and Kala, they are like the Shavuot is considered as the marriage, the wedding day of Hashem and Am Yisrael, the Torah being the Ketubah, right? But now we are day number 8. Why? First, because nothing happened during 7 days. For 7 days, people have been rejoicing. Moshe Rabbeinu was serving as the Kohen Gadol, doing all the service during 7 days. And the Shekhinah still didn't come inside of the Mishkan, didn't come down. So they are waiting and waiting and waiting. It's as if like you have the Chatan that is waiting under the chuppah. Everything is ready. The flowers are set. All the guests are sitting. And now where is the Kala? Because the Shekhinah is the feminine part of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So basically we're waiting for the Kala to show up. Oh, are you coming? You're not coming. You're getting married, not getting married, right? And we are day number 8. And first, let's understand what 8 means. So you were speaking about the seven Sefirot earlier, which are the way that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's not only the emotions, it's also the Sefirot, or not just the Sefirot HaOmer, it's actually, the Sefirot are the lenses, are the, comment tu dis, a lens, like un filtre, a filter, through which Hashem manifested himself in this world, okay? We saw that in the first classes in November and December, but basically, how did Hashem, who is infinite, eternal, can fit into our world that is a limited and finite world? By constricting himself, it's called the Tzimtzum, right? He's limiting himself through different Sefirot, and those Sefirot start with, so in total there are 10, as you mentioned, there are 7 that we saw earlier, and the 3 others that are Chokhmah, Bina, and Da'at. And basically everything that exists in this world is based on this model, this pattern of revelation and manifestation in this world. For instance, like in order to organize a wedding, first you have to have the idea. The chokhmah is, okay, I have an idea. You know, like in the movies, they have a little light that pops out like that. Oh, he has an idea. So that's chokhmah. I have the idea of a celebration. Okay, the light bulb. Thank you. Second thing, bina. Bina is distinguishing, getting to know what I want, what I don't want. Okay, so basically it's forming a little bit this idea, giving a little bit more consistency to this idea. If, for instance, I'm going to give you an example that is not a wedding, I'm going to give you an example of something, a project that we have at Le'alot. It's a project of a magazine. Okay, so we had that idea. We want to create Le'alot magazine. Now, what do we want? What don't we want? So Chokhmah is the project. Now, Bina is, okay, I need to understand what do I want with that magazine? Should it be just a fashion magazine? Should it be something just spiritual? No. We want something that is actually elevating the physical to the spiritual. That's what we want. So that's Bina. Then Da'at. How am I going to create that project now that I have it, right? So Chokhmah, Bina, Da'at. This is more the intellectual part of manifesting something that I want to create in this world. And this is how HaKadosh Baruch Hu created this world. And then you have the 7 more material steps, which are Chesed, Gvura, Tiferet, Hod, Yesod, Malchut. No, Netzach and Malchut. Okay, Netzach comes before, after Tiferet. So what does it mean? It means that everything in this world goes and exists because there were 7 steps before. The laws of nature, the laws of Teva, are actually going through those 7 limitation filters, right? Constraints. So the number 7 represents this limited world. We have 7 musical notes. We have 7 colors in the rainbow. We have 7 emotions,
7 days of the week.
7 days of the week. Everything in this world has to go through those 7 steps in order to be manifested, in order to exist. But what is number 8? So 7 represents the human world, limited, and 8 represents what is beyond, what is above. So it represents divinity. And that's why when does a goy gadol, a nation, a big nation like Am Israel become divine? The 8th day, the day of the Brit Milah. That's the day when we enter this oath with Akadosh Baruch Hu, this covenant with Akadosh Baruch Hu. With this oath, c'est l'avoine, ça n'a rien à voir.
Also no.
Yes,
A covenant is a no.
Oh, okay. This covenant with Akadosh Baruch Hu on the 8th day. So 8 represent the infinity. And by the way, even in Goyish culture, it's an 8 that represents the infinite, right? Infinity is an 8, right? Because it never ends. So basically, Shmini, and we saw that also, I think, when we learned the Tehillim of David HaMelech, there is a harp that has 8 strings that David HaMelech uses in order to recall something that is beyond human limitation. So here we're going to speak about do we say supernatural?
Supernatural, yeah.
Supernatural. It's above nature. We're going to speak about something that is more elevated than just human. Okay, so this is why it's a very interesting parasha. Another thing, science. Science follows the number 7 because it's logical. The logos, the culture, the Greek culture, anything that has to do with science is actually follows the number 7. Okay, so when we say, for instance, a friend of mine recently, so Michael Ben Aisha, 2 weeks before Pesach, he has suffered the machala already in the past. He was in a redemption. Do we say that? Redemption or redemption?
Remission.
Remission, thank you. And he had something happen to him. He was not feeling good at all. He went to the hospital and they told him, you have 60 days left.
Oh my God.
Okay? And thank God he came back home yesterday, the day before yesterday, Baruch Hashem. So he's fine. He needs to recover from whatever he had, but Baruch Hashem, why? Because scientifically, there is something. But Am Israel is above that. Ein Mazal Israel is also number 8, meaning like we are above the laws of nature. Our tefillot, what we're doing now, dedicating a day of learning, praying, doing tehillim, saying brachot for the refuah shlema of that person, helped him. Okay, and we saw that so many times, right? So it's very important to see that whatever we're going to learn now, it's actually infinite, eternal, illimited. And we're going to enter really a lesson that is going to help us to take that pain, that weakness, that sense of failure, of limitation, and elevate it. Bezrat Hashem. So that's why we called that class, I don't know how, like from weakness to, I don't remember how it was called, or something like that. Yeah.
No, I think it was something else, but please.
I also like the name.
Oh, okay. So what do we see here? We see that the entire people, the entire nation of Am Israel, follow the commandments. That time they decided to follow what Hashem told them to do. They followed everything. They did a beautiful and perfect Mishkan, right? Moshe and Aaron also did whatever they could. And during those 7 days of celebration, which they thought would be just 7 days, they thought like, okay, we're going to celebrate, we're going to party in a beautifully holy way in order to celebrate that Hashem's Shekhinah is now with us, dwelling with us. It's back, and we've been forgiven, not forgotten, forgiven, okay? But something happens that day. Moshe Rabbeinu, for 7 days, has been serving as a Kohen Gadol, but now Aaron is going to take over. And we know that Aaron is the one who is going to be the Kohen Gadol for real. He's the first real Kohen Gadol. And then from Aaron, all his descendants will be Kohanim. The Kohanim that we know today come from Aaron HaKohen, the brother of Moshe Rabbeinu. Okay, they all descend from him. He had 4 boys. So those 4 boys are Kohanim, right? And they are dressed up as Kohanim, and they come together with their father in front of the entire Am Israel, in front of that beautiful creation that they made, the Mishkan. And imagine the palpitation, imagine the excitement, imagine how happy they must have been. They are finally going to enter the service, the title, the role where HaKadosh Baruch Hu was, that created for them, right? And they enter. And in the moment, Nadav and Avihu, who are 2 of the kids of Aaron HaKohen, enter. A tragedy strikes. They are burnt by a heavenly fire. They are killed. And where they enter, by a heavenly, okay? So imagine, it's supposed to be the epitome of the happiness, of the joy. They did everything according to the plan. And now, this tragedy, now Hashem, not only you didn't descend, but now you stroke my kids.
He wasn't instructed to wait until the Shekhinah comes down to enter.
So listen, we're gonna see that they are here. They are with this terrible tragedy that happened. And let's try to take this tragedy to today. On October 7th, October 6th, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and all the months of September, a group of people who had hope in humanity and who wanted shalom between Palestinians and Israelis decided to organize a beautiful Nova festival. We're going to dance, we're going to celebrate love and happiness with music. Okay, it's the day of Simchat Torah that they plan to do it, but they had this intention, a lot of chesed in this intention, no kvura probably, but a lot of love and peace. We want the good. We are going to dance and to create that Nova festival next to the frontier, so that we're going to show them we want to be with you. We want to be friends with you. We want to merge our people and have shalom. They were young people. And I heard, and you heard, so many testimonies of young people from all around the world, and of course from all around Israel, who had planned on going that night, spend the entire night dancing for human celebration. They wanted to celebrate. They did everything according to their way of seeing things the right way, right? They arrive, they dance, they're probably a little high also on substances or whatever, I don't know. But some people say we are in the middle of the desert, and we are in the middle of that celebration, and suddenly we see things falling from the sky. Oh, wow, they went above and beyond. They even had people like come out from the sky. At first, some witness say, like they thought it was part of the show. They thought it was part of the, and then of course they realized that it was not, obviously, part of the show. And we know what happened. A tragedy struck them. Not only them, the entire Am Israel. There is this, so this is very present. But it happened also to the story of a couple that was living in Poland in 1938 or 39. I don't remember exactly which year was the Kristallnacht. But they hear from a neighbor who was living in the same building as them. The neighbor comes and says, not supposed to tell you that, but something very bad is going to happen tonight for all the Jews. And you've been always so nice to me. You're my neighbors. I love you. I don't have anything wrong against you. I want you to please run away. Go somewhere else. Don't stay here. And the parents listened to that. And like they were Polish and they were Jews. But they were Polish. They belonged in this society. They were wealthy people who had a factory and who had many belongings and possessions and okay. And they decide to listen to that neighbor. But their daughter says, Mom, I have a lot of homework. Let me finish my homework and I'll join you later. Believe it or not, she manages that night, unfortunately, to reach her parents out of the city. From that, they unfortunately hear what's going on and they decide to leave for France. Because they have a lot of connections, because he was a manufacturer and he would manufacture a lot of things for France. So he manages to get to Paris. Over there, the war has not started yet, but very soon it does. And the family has to hide. They escaped. They escaped what they think was the Holocaust for them. And they think they live freely in Paris. Until La Rafle du Veldiv happens. Until the French government, the French police, decides to give out all the Jews that are non-French to the Gestapo, to the Nazis, and they gather all the Jewish people that live in Paris who are not French originally in a stadium. They keep them there for a few days. They pretend that they need just to make sure that they will be fine. And they drive them to a train. And this family is deported. And they will die. Just one person out of this family, the girl, who has witnessed all that and was not there when they went at the crystal night. She was studying, but that night she had a lover, and she didn't go with her parents to that stadium. So she survived the Holocaust, but all her family died in the Holocaust. So they thought everything was fine. They thought they did everything to save their family, and yet the tragedy struck. there is this Moroccan family. And our friend, Michal, gave me permission to share with you today. They have beautiful family. Baruch Hashem, they live in Casablanca, in Morocco. And some of the older kids are already married. The younger kids that we know, Michal, is 14, I think, by then. And her oldest brother, Mesod, is married. And they live in Shanghai for work. And of course, as all the Moroccan diaspora, and as very united family, when Pesach arrives, they decide to come and join the family in Morocco. They are married and they have one little boy, David Yosef. They come, they spend the Chagim together in Casablanca, and they say, you know what? We live on our own in Shanghai. We never have the opportunity to spend a weekend just us, the parents of that little kid. So Mesod and his wife. And the mother says, you know what? Go to Marrakesh and enjoy just a few days after the Chag. So basically the day after the Mimuna. Go together and spend a few days so you can enjoy and build your couple. Is so important. And we'll take care of David Yosef. So the baby stays with the grandparents. The Mesod and his wife go to Marrakesh, which is not very far away from Casablanca. And they were supposed to go to a nice hotel. The room wasn't ready. They decided to go to the square. How do you call the central square of the city. And as they were preparing to do what is the most beautiful thing, gathering with your spouse, enjoying, building, connecting, the tragedy strikes. A terror attack, and they die, both of them.
Is this Michal's brother?
Brother, Mesod. And it was their yahrzeit yesterday. That's why we also dedicated this brother, the older brother, Mesod. Yeah. You see the strength of Michal. After that, her family decided to go to Montreal, where she grew up the rest of her teenage years, for the little boy also, because the sister-in-law was from Montreal. So they wanted the little boy to have both grandparents in order to be raised.
She was also pregnant.
She was also pregnant. What do we do when such a tragedy strikes? What do we do? Aaron, the Torah tells us he didn't say anything. He shut his mouth. He didn't say anything. Because sometimes there's nothing to say. And I'm sorry that I'm so emotional. But sometimes there is nothing to say. Those boys, Nadav and Avihu, this family, those couples from Nova Festival, Mesod and his wife, there's nothing to say. And I was thinking, I made a little inspirational video this week on Elisheva, the wife of Aaron. Can you imagine?
Oh, that was the wife of Aaron.
Yeah.
Oh.
Can you imagine losing her two boys like that? And having in front of everyone and having to maintain a certain dignity. And she didn't react either.
Oh my gosh.
It is unbearable. It is unbearable, and there's nothing to say about it. So what are we going to say now? Yesterday, I visited my friend Michal, and she told me she's going also through a lot, because you understood that her twins are at the hospital and need tefillot, very
It's crazy the timing also.
intense. Yeah. They were born the same day as
Yeah.
Mesod. Yeah, the third day of Pesach.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
That's awesome.
and she told me, Esther, my sister Devorah told me, but what a beautiful life. And she told me it's true. He would have wanted us to celebrate life, to enjoy life. He wouldn't have wanted us to be sad and to stop our life. And today, we all have our own tragedies. And we're going to see that no tragedy is comparable. We don't need to compare our suffering with anybody else's suffering, because each suffering was made uniquely for that person. I'm going to go a little bit further because I didn't realize the time flew. So what is interesting is that, yes, we're speaking about above the nature, because in order to go through those moments, you have to be a gibor. And that's not for nothing that we are the week of Gvura. You have to be a gibor. You have to be strong in order to be able to hold space for that and continue to celebrate life. So how do we do that? The parasha is going to give us some lessons, beautiful lessons. We have to understand when did the Shekhinah arrive, and that's why we're going to answer your question. For 7 days, Moshe Rabbeinu had been serving in the Mishkan, and the Shekhinah was not coming down. So at one point he says, guys, bros, it's my fault. It's my fault. We know that Moshe Rabbeinu is so anav, so he's so humble. It's my fault. I'm not worthy. I'm not the Kohen Gadol. Aaron, my brother, is the one. Now he's gonna enter the Mishkan, and you're gonna see the Shekhinah is gonna come. Hola, Estrella, ¿qué tal, mi amor? ¿Todo bien? Siéntate, por favor. So you can help yourself if you want to eat something. And he says, it's all my fault. How many times when something happens, do we turn to ourselves, looking bad at ourselves and saying, oh, it's my fault. Why did I do that? This tragedy would not have never happened had I not done this. We spoke about that a little bit when we prepared for Pesach, it's called personalization, right? I don't know if you remember. I'm not strong enough. I'm not good enough. It's all my fault. I don't deserve. I don't have enough gvura. It's all my fault if it didn't work out. If this project that we had didn't work out, it's all my fault, right? And Rashi then brings the second version. He says, Aaron says, no, wait. It must be my fault. Hashem is angry with me. Remember, I participated in the golden calf. Okay, I tried to slow down. I tried to make it kosher. But the truth is that I still participated. It's my fault. Moshe, it's not yours. Aaron is saying that. How many times do we think, oh my God, I didn't find my chatan. Again, 1 month passed and I wasn't pregnant. I didn't get that job. I lost that job. I didn't get this. I didn't do that. Right? We see projects that abort, tragedies, little tragedies. And we think, I sinned. Remember what I did? Oh my God, when I was 18, when I was 15, when I was 20, last week. It's because I sinned that this is not coming. Now Hashem is punishing. Right? Each one sees themselves as the reason for the failure. And isn't that so human? It is very human. When things go wrong, we internalize, we personalize, we blame ourselves. We say, if I were better, if I were more spiritual, if I were more observant, this would not have happened. But the truth is that alone, none of them make the Shekhinah arrive. Aaron enters the Mishkan, nothing happens either. When does the Shekhinah arrive?
All together.
When they go together. When they go together,
Who's together?
Moshe and Aaron.
and his children?
Moshe and Aaron
Okay.
first, the two of them enter. And that's when the Shekhinah arrives. Why? Because when you have humility, when you're anav, when you make space for the other, that's when you make space for HaKadosh Baruch Hu to step in. And we'll see that also in Taharat HaMishpacha. We didn't start this today.
How long did I miss?
No, you didn't miss anything. We're still on we're starting in a few minutes.
12:30 was like-
Yeah, it's 12:28. We're still on the other, it's a day of learning, so we're still in the previous class. So that's beautiful. We created that Mishkan with half a shekel. We had to donate each half a shekel. And we receive the Shekhinah with half of a human being, understanding we're all interconnected. Because why? Because the core of the Torah is actually to understand Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. You're not better than your fellow. The same way you love yourself, you love your fellow. You make space for him in your life. You're half of a shekel. Kol Israel arevim zelazeh. We're all interconnected. So this is the core of the Torah. And this is when we arrive to that understanding, and not only that understanding, because we have that understanding, now are we able to live that concept? The day we live that concept, that's the day Mashiach is coming. That's the day the Shekhinah came down. Who told me that? Did you tell me that? I don't remember. Oh, no, I think it's Revital Rina who told me, I don't remember who told me this morning, that she spoke with a Rav, and the Rav told her, Mashiach is there. He's waiting. He's waiting for what? He's waiting for us to understand that. Not to understand, to live that. To live through that. That yes, my suffering is your suffering. I don't need to be jealous of you. I don't need to have to put myself more than you. We're us, we're together, we're one. This ardut, and it starts at home. That's why it makes sense to go through Taharat HaMishpacha, because it starts at home. There's nobody else than a husband and a wife who can create unity. No other relationship. There's no other relationship that can create one. There is no other place where Hashem descends, the Shekhinah of Hashem descends, than the couple when they're intimate. Right? So we have to understand, creating that is actually bringing the Shekhinah down. Now, I want to go a little bit forward. Okay. I want to speak about the power of silence. No, because we don't have time. I'm going to go and speak about.
Yeah, I
What?
want that one.
Oh, you want that one? Okay, so let's go into
Well, in face of diversity? Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Aaron's reaction is Vaidom Aaron, and Aaron was silent, right? Sometimes there are no words, not in front of death, not in front of a 5-year-old or 7-year-old boy in New Jersey who passed away, a friend of ours, the Smadja family. You heard about them? A year and a half ago, he passed. Natan Chai.
Those are the one we're praying for.
No, we're not praying for him. He was taking a
There's one that's in
shower.
critical condition.
Yeah, also, but that's not the one.
Oh, okay.
No. A year and a half ago, we have a very good friend of Esther Alimi, a very good friend of mine, who comes very often to Miami. And the kids were in the house. One of her boy, Natan Chai, who was a very, very special boy, he took a shower and he had an episode of epilepsy in the shower, and he drowned in his shower.
But
in his bath.
they knew he had epilepsy?
I'm not even sure that he knew, they knew that he had an epilepsy. I think he had, but it was they thought it was overcome. That he overcome. So in front of that, what do you want to say? There's nothing to say.
That you know.
There is to sit. I need to sit. I need to be there. And there is a beautiful story in the Talmud of Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. He had lost his son, and he had many students. And during the week of Shiva, the students came to him, and they were very prestigious students. The first one comes, Rabbi Eliezer, and he says to him, first he waits, because you know that there is a law of silence when somebody loses.
Yeah.
When somebody is an avel, he's comment dire en anglais, un avel?
Like a mourner.
A mourner.
You don't initiate conversation.
Right.
You don't initiate conversation. That person has to initiate. Why? Because that person is going through something that is you can't
explain.
verbalize. There are no words to describe what he's feeling or what she's feeling. So first you have to wait. When you visit someone, a house of Avelim, of mourners, you have to sit and wait for them to start the conversation. When they are ready to verbalize, because verbalizing is giving a definition.
You can't say like, I'm so sorry for your loss.
Not
Nothing?
now. You have to wait for them to speak. And
Okay.
when they speak, and usually people who know the laws will speak to you, they will say,
Right.
yesterday I visited one of my friends who just lost her father. And she told me when I stepped in, she says, Esther, how are you, my love? Thank you for coming, Esther. So she initiated,
yeah.
she invited me to
Wow.
speak with her. Okay. So Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai is sitting, Shiva, of his son, and he's devastated. But he starts the conversation with his students who came. And the first student comes and say, my Rav, there's another one. The first human being, Adam Arishon, he lost his son. And he managed to go through it. So you will also. Bezrat Hashem. Rabbi Yonatan ben Zakkai looks at his student and says, what? It's not enough that I have the pain of my son, that you're bringing me the pain of Adam Arishon's son, of Adam Arishon? You're not helping me. You're not relieving any pain from me. Second student brings the son of David HaMelech, was the third student. And he says, David HaMelech also lost his son. And he says, you're not helping me at all. Aaron HaKohen lost his two sons. There are so many examples. The only student who is going to help him is Rabbi Eliezer ben Arach. And he says, your pain makes me think about a parable, a mashal. Is the story of a person, a man, who had received in deposit, do we say in deposit? Yeah, a deposit from the king, a beautiful diamond. It was a very, very precious diamond, a unique diamond. All diamonds are unique, by the way. He took such good care of that diamond. He was scared. It's not his, it's the king's diamond. He took very good care of it, but he knew that one day this diamond will have to go back to its owner. Your son is that diamond. And at that moment, Rabbi Yochanan was comforted. He could receive that comfort. Why? Because he made him understand, listen, this is unique. Your son was unique. You cannot compare your pain to anybody else's pain. And it was also Hashem's ownership. You were he was in your hands for a certain moment. He was supposed to go back. Last story that I want to share with you, and then we'll go to the Taharat HaMishpacha. It's the story of the Klosenberger Rebbe. who lost his wife and 11 of his children in the Holocaust in Bergen-Belsen. He survived the Holocaust, and the day of the liberation of the camp is actually the day of Yom Kippur. So he gathers all the survivors, and he said, huh? And he says, it's Yom Kippur. We're gonna do the service. Imagine, in Bergen-Belsen, he starts opening the Marzor of Yom Kippur. And what do we say 5 times during Yom Kippur? The vidui. He starts the tefillah. He looks at that vidui. And he says, Ashamnu? Bagadnu? Did we sin? Closes the Marzor and he says, this vidui wasn't made for us. Did we sin any of those sins? We didn't. But you know what we have to ask to do teshuvah for? For not saying Modeh Ani every morning, even in this hell. We have to celebrate life within the tragedy, even with the tragedy. And he got all of them to thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu for being alive. Because a Jew is beyond nature. Because when you want to be, when somebody wants to step on you and to crush you, what do? You stand and you elevate yourself. And you thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu because you are connected to Hashem. You're not human. The center of the Torah, we said, Parashat Shmini. And you know what is in the center of the Torah? We said earlier, there are words. There are letters that form words. When you say just a letter, it doesn't mean anything, right? If I say Lamed, Esther, I don't know what you want to tell me. Like there's no meaning in this, right? One letter doesn't mean anything. How do we call a letter in Hebrew? It's a symbol. Because a letter is a symbol. So let's try to understand what is the symbol of the core of the Torah. You know what it is? If you divide the Torah within 2 parts, you get that letter Vav from the word. So in this parasha, we also learn about the kashrut, right? The laws of kashrut. If we count all the letters of the Torah, the middle letter is in this parasha. It's the Vav in the word Gachon, which means la gorge, the throat. And what does it? It speaks about the animal that walks on the throat, really on the tummy, on the belly, that is on the floor, right? It's a Vav in Gachon. Garonne.
Ouais.
Ben, c'est marqué avec un CH, je sais pas, je l'ai lu dans la traduction. Garonne, sorry, Garonne, then, sorry. So, it's very interesting because here, who is he talking about? What is the animal, the reptile that, it's a snake. It's a snake. You're not allowed to eat those reptiles that are on the floor and live on there and walk on their throat, on their tummy, on the floor. Right? So the Vav is that from that animal, because sometimes life puts us face down like the snake. But the Vav in Garon is written larger than usual. It's higher than usual because it's a symbol of another Vav that we are introduced to in the first pasuk of the Torah. Bereshit bara Elokim et hashamayim ve et haaretz. And now we understand that Vav is a connective point It's a connective point between two worlds, Hashamayim and Haaretz, right? Basically, when somebody is trying to put you down, when life puts you down, when there's that type of tragedy, the only way to continue going forward is actually to remind yourself that there is a vav, there is a connection. What is happening here is Min Hashamayim. And I have to look into Hashem in order to survive. I have to put my life in Hashem's hands. I have to reach out to him, to ask him to help me. And the middle word, now that we understand that ot, that symbol of that vav, connecting this to the spiritual, there's a meaning through that suffering. By the way, Viktor Frankl, who's also a survivor, started this theory of logotherapy, finding a meaning through suffering because he went through hell.
Mm-hmm.
And he understood that vav. But the middle word of the Torah is not the middle letter, if we count the words, which is different, is also in this parasha, and it's Darash Moshe. Moshe searched and kept searching. And it's very interesting because Darash doesn't only mean search, but when you speak of a bet midrash, it's exactly the same root. So basically it's studied. He learned Torah. He sat and he learned Torah, and he didn't stop learning Torah. Why? Because that was the only way for him to elevate. When there is a tragedy, we have to bring the light of Torah in our life. This is the only way to keep walking.
And that's why you missed Midrasha.
Yeah, true. Baruch Hashem.
And we felt it emptiness for that.
So I want to close this this class on Parashat Shmini by wishing that our Chatufim will come back home, Bezrat Hashem, that the war will end, that the fire in central Israel, whatever it means, because we didn't really get to understand where it was specifically, will cease immediately, Bezrat Hashem, and that all the people that we prayed for today will be healthy, will be celebrating a Brit very soon, Bezrat Hashem, and only good news for all Am Israel. Thank you very much.
Wow.